It's time for our next video. Today's lesson is on lesson 4.4, least common multiple. A multiple is the result of multiplying a number by an integer, or it's like counting by a number. For example, if we were doing multiples of 3, it would be 3, 6, 9, 12. The multiples were figured out by taking the number 3 and multiplying. So first we did 3 times 1, then we did 3 times 2, then we did 3 times 3, then we did 3 times 4. That's what a multiple is. Now the least common multiple is the smallest whole number that is divisible by each of the given numbers, and it usually is it will be 2 or more numbers. For now we're going to focus on 2. So if we start with two numbers, 6 and 8, we are actually going to use a factor ladder in order to find the least common multiple. In the past, what you have done in order to find the least common multiple is start counting by each of the numbers until you found a number that went into both of them. So if we were using the number 6, you would have done 6, 12, 18, 24, and then you would have counted by 8, 8, 16, 24. And then when you got that far, you would see that your common factor, or your least common multiple rather, is 24. It's the first number that both of them have in common. However, we're not going to use that method this year. This year we are going to use factor ladders. So what we'll do right now is set up a factor ladder so that you are able to see how it works. So again, set your upside down L that we've talked about before. Okay. And now we're going to find the prime numbers that go into 6 and 8. What is the first prime number that goes into 6 and 8? The answer is 2. So you put your 2 on the outside and divide. 2 goes into 6 3 times, 2 goes into 8 4 times. Well, at this point there are no other common factors. The only common factors that that both 6 and 8 have is 2. So you have finished and completed your factor ladder. Now what makes a common multiple different than a common GCF? But the GCF was only the number you divided by. Your LCM is all of the numbers on the outside of the factor ladder. So in this case, your LCM would be 2 times 3 times 4, which is 24. And if you remember before, when we did it in the other method, that is exactly the answer that you got as well. So the LCM for 6 and 8 is 24. Now if we do it for 4 and 5, again, we want to make our upside down L and find a common factor. Well, the only number that goes into 1 goes into 4 and 5 is 1. So 1 goes into 4 4 times, 1 goes into 5 5 times. There is nothing else that they have in common, so you can multiply the two numbers to get your LCM. So 1 times 4 times 5 would give you 20. So something like that. If you can't find a number that goes into them, you can just take the original two numbers and multiply them to find your LCM. Okay, let's try another pair. Let's do 12 and 20. At this point, I'd like you to pause the video and try to do 12 and 20 on your own. Okay, what is the first prime number that goes into 12 and 20? The answer is 2. 2 goes into 12 6 times, 2 goes into 20 10 times. Is there another prime number that goes into 6 and 10? Well, the answer is yes. 2 goes into both of them. So 2 goes into 6 3 times, 2 goes into 10 5 times. Is there another factor that will go into both of them? The answer is no. So we have figured out all of the prime factors, or the prime factorization of 12 and 20. So your LCM will now be all of these numbers here on the outside. So you would take 2 times 2 times 3 times 5, or 2 squared times 3 times 5. Well, 2 squared is 4, times 5 is 20, times 3 is 60. So your LCM, in this case, is 60. So when you're using a factor ladder, the LCM is the product of all of the numbers on the outside of the ladder. All right, that concludes our lesson for today. I hope you have an easy time tomorrow in class and that you have a good night, and we'll see you in the morning. God bless you all.